Hi everyone, All Designs here, and this is part 3 of the Tamiya 1/35th scale M4A3E8 tank build. So as you can see, we've made a lot of progress since part 2, and we're going to get into that. But first things first, we are pretty much done at this point as far as taking parts out of the box. We are actually waiting now on my aftermarket parts to come in the mail. And that is about as clean as we are going to see the tank now. After this, it is going to get really, really dirty. So let's get into what we've done since part 2. I would imagine this video is going to be a bit long, so let's get into it. So since part 2, pretty much right after that video was done, we actually sprayed this with a clear coat, the TS13, because I wanted to apply the decals. Now, if you look right here, I have some ID numbering and such right there. These do not come with this model whatsoever, or this model, at least that specific set. I think this one does come with some ID numbers and such, but this is Korean specific, right? Korean War specific. As were the European theater ones, you just get these ones here. Actually, you get black ones as well for right here, but I chose the white. Now, getting back to those ones right there, now, I got those ones from a Willys Jeep set that I had right here. However, I noticed that on the Willys Jeep set, they all start with 202, 205, 201, and then, of course, I used a lot of pictures from Fury, the movie Fury. Theirs started with 303, and I wondered if that was like a unit-specific thing or an M4 specific thing. So I kind of changed mine to 303. And then all the numbers are different after that. I didn't copy, the Fury tank. So I'm not too sure if, the M4 units or, the tanks started all with 303. But I really didn't want to stay with the 202s because, or at least the 200 series. Because maybe that was all Jeep started with the 200s or whatever. You know what I'm getting at. So if you do, have a set like this, something to consider. I stayed with the 303. So it did take some juggling around with some numbers. I had to do some cutting. But anyway, long story short, I got those numbers on there because I really wanted ID numbers on my tank. Otherwise, it's just too much all green, right? So we'll get to this side in a minute, but I really want to talk about this part of it. Now, also, too, you notice that I actually have some attachment points, right? Right here. And then here, and here, and here, and there. Those do not come with the model either model. Once again, I sacrificed parts from my M41 Bulldog because, again, using pictures from Fury and actually other models and real M4 pictures, they had attachment points for sleeping bags and whatever stowage that you might have, and neither of these kits had those pieces. So once again, I took pieces from my other model kit and attached them on. Now, that's a step I would have done normally in part 1, right? Because I don't like having glue marks, especially after I've already painted the tank, right? But luckily I got away with very, very little glue marks. You probably can't even tell. But again, once we get weathering and stuff on there, you'll never even notice, any glue marks that might be there. So I do have an aftermarket set of, a lot of gear and such that will be hanging from the tank. So those will really come in handy later. And then these points right here are going to be for the logs that I'm going to have hanging off the tank. Now, obviously the logs were for added armor. And, if the tank got stuck or whatever, they can take a log off and use it for the tracks to help get them out of a jam. But so those are going to come in handy later because we're going to be using them for fake rope and such to attach the logs to. So that's another thing you can add to your tank to make it, more unique if you want. So not only did we take this from, our M41 Bulldog, actually that was once a wheel for the mount for the 30 cal. We're taking these parts right here and here and here, and then obviously, of course, on the other side. So once again, we're making it, real specific to, our needs, which is great because a lot of battlefield modifications actually happen. So we're really making this, our own Easy 8, which is, a lot of fun. I'm really glad that we didn't, copy a tank from any specific movie, because then we'd really be restricted, right? So once that was on there and our decals were on there, I sprayed it with a flat clear coat, which is the TS80. So now our decals are nicely sealed in there. I made sure they're nice and dry before we did that, and I sprayed them from a bit of a distance because I wanted to make sure that these didn't bubble up on us. And then once I did that, I actually took my Tamiya weathering set, the soot, and then I don't know if the camera will pick it up. It might. If you look around all like the edges right there, it is picking it up a bit. All along like the lines, just to give it a bit of detail, as you can probably tell. It actually looks, oddly enough, more embellished on camera. So you get the idea. So kind of all along, wherever there's kind of like a seam line, so to speak. That just gives it a little bit of definition. And I did it on this as well, right? So same kind of idea. I'm going to talk about the road wheels in a minute, but I did it right there as well, and then all around the parts, things like that. And then once that was done, again, I blasted it again with TS80, which is the flat clear, just to seal, the weathering in, or like the soot in. Because once we start really with the oils and the weathering, I don't want that, like the oils and such, to eat away at the soot that we just did. And I used obviously the Q-tip, and then that other modeling Q-tip, I guess you can call it, to do that effect. So the same kind of idea was used for the decals on this, but the road wheels. Now, how I do my road wheels is fairly simple actually, but prior to detailing my road wheels, there was a nasty seam line on every single wheel. It took a lot of sanding. Actually took me a whole day to do each and every road wheel. There's a seam line that actually went right down the middle of every road wheel. So it took a lot of sanding, which I was going to do anyway. I'm going to see if I can get in there. I actually used more of an aggressive grit just to kind of chop up the road wheel a little bit, just to get it more use look, I guess you can say. Now, how I do my road wheels is very, very, very simple. I use Sharpies. I explained this in my other tank builds, but a lot of you might not have seen them. Now, I take a thinner Sharpie, and usually every road wheel has kind of a lip right there, and I simply just take my Sharpie and go around like that, and then I take the thicker one and basically fill in the wider area. And I do that for every single one. And you get almost every time, you got to take your time with it because your hand can slip, but usually every time you get a perfect circle, as you can see there. And then after you've done that, you install the wheels, and then you spray it with a flat coat. And of course, in part 2, I explained that I switched the wheels around, right? Because the male, it says in the instructions, the male end goes on this side and the female end on this side. But I reversed it because I wanted to install these pieces first, and it worked like a charm, as you can tell. So that was very simple. And as you can tell, it worked out like a charm. And once we get the weathering and mud and everything going into there, that's going to turn out really nice. So moving on to the crew figure. Now, originally I don't tend to use the crew figures that come with the models. They tend to be kind of, mediocre. But I do have other crew figures coming, aftermarket ones, but this one's kind of cool. As you can see, I changed the head. Right, I want to make this my own. The one that comes in the box is kind of like that. It comes with, you know, his own head, but I wanted to change it up, make it my own. Usually because the diorama that I have planned for this, I'm not going to spoil it just yet. Obviously, it's a winter diorama, but always, you know, in combat action, they always have, you know, a guy manning a machine gun on the ready as the other crew members are on break or what have you. So this guy here, I wanted to make him my own, so obviously I gave him his own head, as you can see right there. So he's going to be in the top turret right there. I'm going to add a wire. So he's holding the mic right there. So there's going to be a wire hanging down, obviously, to make it more real. But obviously he's got his own head. And that's just that legend set right there. So you get a set with a bunch of different heads. So you just pick which one you want, and you got to cut it down, you know, the neck or whatever to make it fit the way you want to fit. So once he's all painted up, he's going to look real nice. So there we go. I got the machine gun, you know, for right there for the bow gunner. That's pretty much painted up, you know, for the armor bit, but I'm keeping that out right now, obviously, just because once we get the weathering, you know, around the armor part of the machine gun port, I don't want the weapon itself to be, you know, weathered up, because, you know, the weapon itself, you know, the barrel will be pretty clean. So I want to keep that separate for now. The clear parts I'm keeping out until the very end, because I don't want, you know, all that weathering and stuff, you know, wrecking the clear parts. Same with here. The hatches, those are not glued in at all. They're just resting in there until I'm ready to figure out what I want to do with them. Other than that, we are pretty much just awaiting, obviously, like I said at the beginning of my video, just my aftermarket parts. Just show you the back here. I did detail these parts here. Let me see if I can show you. That's just using the hairspray technique and then using my powders to simulate the rust. Basically, those are non-painted parts. I just sprayed hairspray onto them, you know, before I glued them in, and added like rust powder so it sticked or stuck. Use proper English. That's how I achieved that. And it's kind of a shame because once this is all put together, you're never even going to see that. And then once this is on the diorama, you're never even going to see that. But hey, it's there. That's why I didn't really do too much of a video, you know, on that specific part, because you're never going to see that. But I thought, you know, I'll just show you quickly, I guess. So there we go. I'm going to wrap this one up, but that's pretty much it, I believe. I think I covered everything that I've done. I guess the most important parts is in things to do is make this your own tank, right? And that's the fun part. I already have a name picked out for it, but we'll wait, you know, until the barrel is here, and then we'll install the name on the barrel. And yeah, it's fun making this our own tank. You know, doing some battlefield conversions, obviously, with the extra parts. These are important, obviously, because they're hook points. I just hope when we go to install the logs, you know, they don't break off. But again, we'll add more glue, and then we'll just hide it with some weathering. I guess it's cheating, but so yeah. So thanks so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if I forgot anything, we'll cover it in the next video. So thanks so much, guys. Bye.